really good ab muscles. And I don't think that's the goal. I think a strong core is the goal. And your core isn't just your abdominals that you can see. It's your transverse abdominals. It's your external and internal obliques. It's your back muscles, which are your iliocostalis, longissimus, and spinalis, which I remember from med school because it's a truly dirty acronym. It's your pelvic floor muscles, and I believe your diaphragm. So it's really just like the whole thing going on. So moving your body against gravity is the best way to strengthen your core, so that as you age, you can pick up your groceries, pick up your kids, go up and down stairs, stand on one foot. These are things that kind of, start to hurt you as you age, and you don't even know it's happening unless you continue to keep up with your core exercises. So not just getting the abs that you can see, but really strengthening the whole thing. So you don't really need weights. A mat is fine. And in this video, I am going to show you progressions and regressions of ab exercises, focusing on the lower abs, because crunches all day you can do them, and you really are just working right up here. Really focusing on protecting that lower back, because a lot of people don't know how to strengthen their back, and I'm going to do a full video on how to strengthen your lower back. So if you can't do a lot of these exercises because of your lower back or because of your hip flexors, which are also underused and underworked, that's fine. Just because you're not there yet doesn't mean you're not going to get there. These exercises are not for you yet, but bookmark it, get back to it. It's fine, you'll get there. So let's start with how to get into a really nice position. Whenever you're on your back for a ab exercise, you really want to actively plant that lower back into the floor. There should never be any bowing at all. Nothing like this should be happening. You're actively planting your lower back in the floor, and that takes work. So your core, your abs and your back are actively being planted. And that really good protective position should start with your hands underneath. Point your toes. This is the first thing we're going to be doing. Just tap, tap, and just tap away as much as you can. I guess 3 sets of 20 if you want to get technical about it. Really just focusing on squeezing those abs and actively pushing that back into the ground. You are going to feel this, especially if you're kind of new to this kind of abdominal work. If you've just been doing crunches your whole life, you're going to feel it in your hip flexors, you're going to feel it in your back. But it should be your muscles in your back. Again, if there's any bowing, stop. Okay, so from here, legs down and up. That is a more advanced move. This 90-degree angle is difficult. If you want to make it easier, you decrease the angle. Think of your body as a lever. So the more you increase the angle, the more difficult the move. As long as you're actively pushing into the ground, you're protecting your back. I feel my muscles being worked, but I do not feel pain. That is where you have to think to yourself, am I working my muscles, or is this hurting? And that's where you make the decision on whether or not to continue or stop. I feel my muscles working in my hip flexors, and I feel my back muscles working, and I feel my ab muscles working, and my hip flexor muscles working. I'm okay with that. If you want to make these exercises harder, if you are ready for it, take away those hands. I am strong enough to push my back into the floor. You can see that there is no bowing. My legs are at a 90-degree angle. I'm okay with this. I feel safe. I feel comfortable doing this. So I'm okay with this. If you are not okay with this, do not move on to this kind of an exercise. Okay. That was progression. If you want to take it down a step, that's fine. Okay. Now let's sit up. From here, this is actually not easy to do either. So just sitting, this is an active sitting. My kind of sit bones, as they call them in yoga, are pressed into the floor. My back is actively working to keep myself straight. My chest is up. My hip flexors are working very hard right now. Like right here is working hard. And my abdominals are working hard. This is an active sitting position. I'm feeling this stance. Now, once you kind of can sit here, this is never going to be a comfortable sitting position. But once you can kind of sit here, you can start to try and balance into what we call, I think this is a C-sit. I'm not sure of all the technical names, but you want to absolutely keep your back straight, and if you need to hold on at first, that's fine, but keep yourself in that active position and eventually hold it. See how long you can hold it for. If you want to just readjust and hold. You are going to feel those hip flexors working really hard. And in order to eventually do a V-up, and even eventually from there, maybe a toes to bar, you're going to need that strength in your hip flexors. Okay, more advanced from the C-sit. If you can, you know, a V-sit. Whew, I am on a slant in this driveway. If you have eventually the flexibility for it, you want to hold your ankles or your feet. That takes a lot of time. Okay, so I'm just showing you things to possibly work up to. Again, you never have to do that if you don't want to. It's kind of unnecessary, but it does work on balance and core strength. It's not easy to hold yourself up like that, and you can't really see it, but I'm on a slant. Let's move on to now working our way to a V-up. From there, we're going to try a roll-up. This is really the first time we're using our upper abdominals. So we're here and we're rolling up. Notice how nothing I've done in this video has been quick. Everything is slow and controlled. Sometimes you'll see people get a ton of reps in a short period of time. That doesn't mean that they're doing anything better for themselves. Anytime you do something slow and controlled, you're not risking injury. So I'd rather do something slow and controlled and know that I'm really focusing on my form and do less reps if that's the case. So again, we're here and we're rolling up. Okay, so that's something that you need to know if your upper abs are strong enough to do. If they're not, then you can go back and you can work on your crunches. Another good exercise for the upper abs is just reaching to the ceiling. Once you're there, reaching up and back down. Reaching up. My legs are straight. That's actually harder. You can do a sit and reach up, but eventually you want to be able to roll all the way up. So a few things for a V-up. We're going to start with in and outs or frogs. So let's get into that kind of C-sit or balancing nice stance. And again, now these are more advanced moves. So you're here, you want to go out and back in, balancing the whole time, out and back in. So about 2 inches off the ground and back in, out and back in. Okay, so that would be probably the first step. We're starting from here. The second thing would be to start from the ground. So we're putting gravity into play even more. So from here, we're gonna do a modified V up and back down. So it's almost like what we just did, but instead of starting from here and letting ourselves down and up, we're starting from the ground. So there's more of your abs, the ab work involved to get up, all the way down, all the way up, instead of starting from here. Kind of, you know, if you only get to here, that's fine for that. But for this one, you're starting here, going all the way up, all the way down. Then the V up is leg straight. Then you could take it up a step further and add that roll up in. So roll up, down, V up, back, slow and controlled. Roll up, down, V up, back. Roll up, down, V up, back. So I hope that was informative. There's a lot of moves in there that were very difficult. Everything can be regressed. I'm going to do a plank series. I'm going to do strengthening your back series. Again, starting from 0. This one was a higher level ab workout series, but there were regressions in there. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And I hope that some of you found this informative.